Good morning, good afternoon, good day. Hi, my name is Michael Bergamo. You may have never heard of me because that would make sense. I am a musician out of Richmond, Virginia, a little suburb outside of that. Anyway, today is not about me. This is about a story of a guitar, specifically this one. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Rockbridge number 700. Back about 2019. This was April 2019. I was in town in Charlottesville, Virginia, about an hour away from where I live all the time, on a job for a customer, and something hit me. I don't know. I was deep scrolling in between lunch and the next thing on Instagram, and I've followed Rockbridge for 100 years because they're amazing. They make really, really beautiful instruments for people you would remember. And they do amazing things. I don't know. And I've heard of them in 2012 for the first time, even though they've been doing it for a while before that. And just, stumbled on an Instagram, and they posted haphazardly every once in a while, documenting finished products, some in progress, but really just a company that I didn't know much about. But I'd followed them, and I realized that they were in Charlottesville. I knew they were in Charlottesville. I didn't know where. I just knew that they were somewhere in that area. So I went on. I was deep scrolling, and I saw them on a recent post, and I DM'd the account, not understanding who or what it was. And I said, hey, if I was in town and you were home, and I wanted to seriously buy one of your instruments, but like I feel like they're probably kind of expensive. Like, can I play one first? Like, how would I do that? Call me back, hit me up later, expecting nothing, send. And within an hour, I got back. I'm home. Come by the shop. It's da 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 da. Here's my cell phone. Text me when you get here. But da da da. And I was just like, well, that's not what I was expecting. So I freaked out. I was like, no, you're busy. I'm sure you're busy. Don't just. I'm an idiot. Don't waste your time on me. And I said some of that, and he's like, no, it's fine. Just come on by. Just I'm here for the next hour. Just come on. And I did it. And I ran over there, and I parked behind Brian's house. And I think Adam may have opened. I was a schmuck, so I walked in the back door, which is the shop. Which I'm sure customers probably are not supposed to be down there, but he greeted me at the door. This very nice fella who was definitely in the middle of working. Adam greeted me so freaking awesome, nice. Just hi, hello, great to see you. Were you here for Brian? I said yeah, and this fantastically nice tall fella comes down the steps, totally aware of my presence. And it just takes these mitts and just shakes my hand, and I'm just dying. I'm flush red, just like, hi, hello, I'm sorry. Oh my God, you guys are just working down here. I'm in the way. Where can we go to talk? And he takes me upstairs to his beautiful house, and just kind of wanders back towards his office. Which is very well documented now. I think just this little leather couches everywhere, and the pianos and guitars. Finally, guitars, and we get to sit down. And I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I am anymore. I'm starstruck. I'm just this person creates things out of nothing and makes beautiful things happen out of all that nothingness. And I sit down on this couch, and immediately it's. So what kind of wood are you into? I'm like, oh no, I don't know. And I think in the corner there was an SJ, there was probably a Triple O, a Smek J, which is their like signature sauce. Some really beautiful things coming out of those, and just super nice. Just like picks up one. He's like, oh SJ, here you go, SJ. This is the one you like. And I remember picking it up, and I was like, okay, that's. Shockingly light. This doesn't look like nothing. It doesn't weigh anything. Like, there's just not a lot here. And I think that was the first takeaway. It was like the neck is heavier than the body. You just don't understand until you feel it. And I didn't know what to do. Like, you just sit down on the couch and you're like, what do you want me to tell you? I don't know. And the whole time you forget you're the customer, and all he's trying to do is get you in. And, he's very nice, very kind, very beguiling of all of them, just very, very even-tempered, and starts asking, like, what kind of finger style are you into? Are you strumming a lot? What are you into? What do you like to listen to? What do you like to play? And I just started babbling. And I'm not sure what I said, but something on the effects of, yes, all of that, all of the above. And I remember putting the SJ down and picking up the Triple O, which I was not intending to do. I walked in with great intention. I wanted to buy one of these. And I sat down with that Triple O and died because it was just as light but boomy and beautiful, and it's like sitting with a guitar in your pocket. Like you can just sit on the couch all day and do this, and it feels good. The neck is a little thinner. But it wasn't what I came for. So I put it begrudgingly back, and I was like, give me that SJ again. And then you fall in love again. I don't remember what I played, but it was probably nothing. It was probably just really casual and calm. It was not impressive. I'm sure he was shaking his head like, oh God, I gotta get out of here. But he didn't. He was super nice. And he started asking, he's like, so woods and tone, like, do you do any of that stuff? And I'm like, I have a few guitars, and I know a little bit. I know enough to be dangerous. And I said yes. Like, before we started building a whole lot, I thought it was important to commit. Be like, yes, I want to do this. How do I walk out with one of these? And he was just like, well, here's the problem. Here's the goal. If you say yes, there's a little bit of money up front, and then you're gonna wait for 12 for a while. I think he set some parameters, but it was like, you ain't get, unless you want one of the demos, you can go out with a demo. But it wasn't the color that I wanted. It was the whole thing. So I decided now I'm gonna wait. He set great expectations. And then we sat down and said, walk me through this. And he said, okay, so we've settled on the body style. You like the SJ, which is the small jumbo. Think like Triple O waist, almost parlor upper bout, but my girl's got a big backyard. This thing is beefy. And if you can tell, it gets to the small side into the big side, and it just keeps on going. And you can sit down with this thing and play really, really slow stuff and get really into the chords. The spacing is great. And then you can let that thing, and it's like strumming a freaking canoe. It ain't gonna let you down. And by the way, before you're judging, these strings are dead as hell. These have been on here for probably 6 months, and I play the hell out of them all the time. And it sings. And we'll go through the audio and all that stuff here in a little bit, but I just thought it was really important that you know that, so you're not judging. When this thing has a pair of fresh strings on it, it's like holding onto a lightning bolt, and you just can't. You're not in control. It feels good. You feel like you can do everything, and the nuance is just. It's so good. It captures all of your little things, and I swear to God, I know this is placebo, but it will kind of cover up some of your mishaps. It's the ultimate thing to hold on to on stage. You want somebody like that to be like, no, he's good. The friend that's throwing $1 bills at your feet when you're too drunk, this thing will hold on to you. It's good. Anywho, so we sit down. Body style's good. The top, all I knew is that I knew that Jimmy Kimmel had gifted one of these to Jake Tapper. I knew that through Instagram. I didn't know it was Tapper's, but I knew that Jimmy Kimmel was the guy to do it. And the burst on that mule was beautiful. It equated it to a dollop of cream in your coffee. It's just, whew, that thing was smoking. And you know that everybody on Earth saw that and wanted it. It was just there's no, Gibson didn't have a burst like that. Taylor, get out of town. And Martin, no. They just, none of the big builders had done a finish like that. That wasn't on a Les Paul. A really, really beautiful. And I've got plenty of bursts. I love a burst. A J45 burst, chef's kiss. Not on a jumbo. Jumbo's a lot of surface area, and if you start too far off, and if you get too far in the middle, the whole thing just looks like crap. And I know they've shot 150,000 of them now, but at the time, it was definitely the way to go. So I asked for the burst, but the top really mattered because, did you want some grain? Did you want some movement in it? And I remember saying, like, whatever you do, because you do this, you've done this, you've done it for everybody, and now me, whatever you think would make a really pretty guitar, you do that. And I kind of had this moment of like recoil, like, I don't know, but tell me what you think would be cool. I did have at the time a guitar with some koa binding, and he liked that. He was like, yeah, definitely, that's gonna look sick. And he's right. So you think in your mind like ivory, everything. Everybody always wants the ivory, the binding, and it does. It pops on a dark guitar. It does. This is a little deader. It's more subtle, and it's koa, so it's got a little bit of pop, and it's literally just around the outside, the back. It's got some pretty cool, some finished parts on the tail, which I like quite a bit. But what you didn't expect is the back of this mule, which is the Indian rosewood, because that thing, man, woo-wee. All right, so good tracks. Yep, and it just kind of bleeds into this really beautiful koa thing, and then the red spruce top with that burst. Forget it, man. That thing is out of control. And then the details. So once all that stuff was settled, and I wanted ebony binding all the way around. I just love their headstock. I think the saw cut off, no pretentious stuff, and that inlay that was just unbelievable. I love that they don't do like these enormous, huge dot inlays. I like that they're a little subtle. And my little pretentious thing here did not happen in that meeting. That happened like 11 months after, and I was like, it's been a year, and I feel like I got to put something on it. And I sent it to him on my phone. I was like, this is so stupid. Can you put this on the 12th fret? And he was like, yeah, we can do that. If you've looked at any of his stuff, he's got, I'm not kidding, I think he's got Picasso. Like he's done everything you can do in inlay. If you're going to someone else for inlay work, you're an idiot. And I mean that respectfully. He's a craftsman and he's perfect at it. But got my little teeny tiny thing there on the 12th fret. And made my whole entire life. Details. So yeah, we talked about Indian rosewood, red spruce on the top, koa binding, ebony neck binding. You can't really see it, but it's in there. He's on the side there. The trim 18 style, so they subscribe to the kind of the Martin trim packages. I think that's probably as close. So you 18, the 35, the 28, and then all the way up, the 45 stuff with the really pretty abalone everywhere. The mother toilet seat on all the stuff, and it was unbelievable, and I just felt like it was a lot. I mean, this thing's gonna live in my house for the rest of my life. But man, is it pretty! You just want all of it. So I said no to a couple of things, but the open back Waverly tuners, I mean, forget about it, man. That's sick. They look perfect. They are perfect. They are beautiful. The turning ratio on them, I'm not a scientist. I think they're pretty good. I don't feel like I got to crank and crank and crank. They're very responsive, and they stay in tune. This thing lives its life in a very temperature-controlled environment, but doesn't move an inch. I mean, for an acoustic guitar with the weather in Virginia that goes up and down and up and down, you could put this thing to work right away. You don't have to monkey with it too much. No cutaway. I get that question a lot. Like, don't you want to get up here? And I'm like, no, not really. And they do it. I know they do it. But no, it's not for me. So like and then like electronics, I added that either the first or the last meeting, one of those two. I feel like if you're gonna have something like this, you want to see what it sounds like when it's real big. And Brian walked me through a couple of those steps. He's just like, I know Fishman is what the bigger guys do because that's what they have to do. But that K&K Pure Mini thing with like the transducers in the bridge, and then it's passive inside, so there might be I don't think there's a battery. No, there's no battery in there. And then just one little kiss on the butt, and you just stick that guy in there. It has a little external preamp that has a battery in it that you can clip to your strap. It's got an input and an output. And you can dial that thing in. It's got, some tonality changes, some bass, treble, mids, that whole bit, but it keeps the mess outside of the guitar, not inside, so it's not rattling around in there. You don't have to take all your strings off to change the battery, and it does not puncture any of the wood. So if you're on Team Taylor or whatever, and you've got the expression system, no shade, that thing is sick, man. They've figured it out. 3 little teeny tiny knobs, but that does put a good bit of mess in your guitar. Also, the world's easiest battery to change out on a Taylor. I'm not suggesting anything. This is just the way they do it. Rockbridge keeps it all on the outside, and I respect that. No pick guard. So the only sad part of that, not sad, it was just I wasn't prepared. I read a lot about it on the internet because everybody had something to say about the finish. That was it though. Like there was not a lot on there about tonality or strumming or picking or kind of music or any of that stuff. And that was kind of unnerving. But one of the forums was like, careful on that finish. And I was like, what? And he's very well clear and documented their natural finishes are applied straight to the freaking wood. Like once they get a good sheen and shine on it, they just, and it's out and it's on and it's laying live on that wood. I think there's like a teeny tiny clear coat, but not much. And I only know that because I got it on a Friday or something, a Thursday. It was the middle of the week during COVID. Came home, drove home as fast as I could legally do so, and got it into a chair. And I make videos for fun, and I did a song, and I'd gone through it a few times, and I immediately I was freaking out. I looked at it, I was like, "Fuck! Oh my god!" Like you can see, my teeny tiny little pinky had kind of gotten on there, and I know that Brian's got like a pretty big crush on old looking guitars, specifically older looking acoustic guitars. I don't know why else would you do that, and I respect that. I just scared the piss out of me. It was like getting a Porsche, and the very first thing you do is scratch it up a little bit. You're like, no, what have I done? So I panicked, and I went out and found a clear pick guard that I applied like you would like you were operating on a family member on Thanksgiving in front of everybody. Put everything down on the table, white glove service, high beam lights, emergency services, insurance, the whole thing. And I applied this thing, and unless you hit it just right, you can't see it. And I'm pretty proud of that. But it allows you to play your guitar instead of sitting there worrying about whether or not it's gonna. Because I don't have 30 of them. I don't have it like Dave's got it. When you scratch one good and you're like, well, whatever, I got 6 more coming. This is the rest of your life, man, and it's gonna be a good one. Anywho, came with strings, duh. And the case. So they give you a couple of case options. If you're a road dog, they definitely have some upgrades so that you can sit that thing under the plane if you're crazy, or in the seat next to you, which is what I would do. But Cedar Creek is a premium guitar case brand, and that thing is tight. I was very impressed. It is heavy as lead, and it'll take a licking. But the cool thing I like about their process here is that they go over all these choices that you made back when you made them, just before, and it is kind of like getting the you got the golden ticket email. You get it because you don't forget. Like I promise, when you put that kind of cheddar down on something and you just wait like a year, every day you obsess about it. You're like, okay, it's been 2 days. All right, it's been 2 months. All right, we're closing the shop on 2020. What am I doing here? And then right when you are done freaking out about it, you get the email, and he's like, "Hey man, you want to talk about your guitar?" And I was like, "Yeah." And that's when they were. Oh my god, they were so freaking awesome. First, he opened it with, "Hey Michael, this is Brian. We're getting ready to start on your guitar. Is there anything you need to move or change?" And I think that's when I did my little monogram thing here. And he's like, "Cool, no big deal. It adds some money. Doesn't matter. You've waited this long. Just take my money." And No other changes, didn't monkey with anything, just said great. And at that moment, you're like, okay, so I just got on this roller coaster. I'm sure I gotta wait. And within like a week or maybe two, it was done. Like maybe as long as a month, I don't know, time dilation, but like it was done. And I remember getting that shit, and he was like, "So where am I shipping this?" I was like, I don't have a family, I don't have friends. I'm gonna go." And I hit the road, and I rode as fast as I could up there. And COVID time, so you mask, and you had to do the whole thing at distance because everybody was dying, and it was super sad. But he could not have been cooler about it. Oh, he did. That was the email that he told me. He said, "By the way, your number 700." And like I didn't know, I knew, but I didn't process it right away. I was like, 700. That's a pretty even number. And what you don't know is what he does when they hit some of those, or what they had done up to that point. I think they somewhere around 900. It got, I don't know. Somebody has 1,000. I know they do. But he would do like this thing, and it's the most associated thing you feel in music when somebody's like, okay, number 100 was this thing I did, and they went to a local guy. 200 is semi-famous. 300, I think, went to a dealer. 400 was like The Rock. What? I think he lives in Alabama. There's a house there for him. Then Brandi, oh my God. Dave had one. They did one as a giveaway. And like you feel like this community for something so just like it's why you play music. It's why you get involved in stuff like this. And you just feel a part of something, and it is like a part of you. And this is all very touchy-feely stuff because it's just a guitar, but it's, man, is it not. It's just, this is an amazing thing that these people work so hard on and have just nailed it. God, they just get it. And now he's doing these cool videos of people like, not people, but like of his shop members, people that have worked with him for a long, long time. The story, it's all coming out there now, years later. And I'm proud of them for that because it does make all the artists and people that play these things proud. Because I knew it. I've followed Jake and Adam for a while. They do lots of artistic things, and Brian is now like the king of all things that are happiness. Like I think he makes board games, and he's making children's books, and now the one stringer, the Tinker Tar, man, just getting people involved in this amazing thing. That's just, it makes you grateful to be alive in this time. And Randall, don't forget Randall. Randall taking the young guy under his wing as a young person, showing them the love of instrument making and giving him an outlet to do that. Absolutely incredible. It's all of my yammering to say thank you. Number 700 from Rockbridge. Just an amazing experience from start to finish. Those guys took the most care they could have taken. Just the best. Thank you so much. This has been 25 minutes of me rambling, sharing and documenting the story because I think it's important for players that are considering buying or making a specialty instrument, one-off or otherwise. Setting expectations. You can do this. You can do this with Martin. You can do this with PRS and Taylor and all those other guys. But I defy any of you to have an experience as fun as that. They're going to put all your special wingdings on there. They're going to make you feel good and blah, blah. But feeling a part of something is, I think, pretty hard to do at that size and scale. This, to me, is a community of artists because, like I said, if you weren't before, you are after. I do love that they have a songwriting contest every so often, and they've done 2 of those so far, and maybe there's another one coming, who knows? But the overall sense is that if you're paying attention in this direction, you should participate and maybe widen the reach and tell more of your friends, because I don't think it happens a lot. I think independent makers are kind of a dying breed. They're trying to make it out there, and without an artist's kind of backing or validation or something, it's very hard to get above the middle line. Doesn't mean they shouldn't, it just means it's hard, and it's really fun to watch somebody try hard and succeed and kick a lot of ass. I get to ride those coattails. It's a lot of fun. Thanks so much, man. I hope you guys are fantastic. You are amazing. I love each and every one of you. Be good.